Hello, everyone. Welcome to my bold and the beautiful gossip channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Before we dive into today's content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and show some love by giving this video a thumbs up. The bold and the beautiful October 30 recap. Carter gets Steffy undermining trust. Edge recruits Ivy and Elektra. The striking and the wonderful spoilers recap for October 30 uncovers that Brooke Logan assisted Carter Walton and trusts Logan with covering with Steffy Forrester in the plan office. Steffy continued requesting to realize what was happening, yet Brooke said they were simply discussing the prior gathering and Carter's development plans. Steffy behaved like Carter's thoughts were excessively aggressive to turn into a reality and eventually cautioned him to be cautious with trust. After Steffy said she wouldn't be amazed in the event that trust was just sponsorship Carter to keep her line alive, Brooke was annoyed and contemplated whether Steffy really figured trust would stoop so low. Steffy obviously felt that, yet Carter demanded he upheld expectation for the future since he trusted in it. After Steffy implied about Edge Forrester and Eric Forrester believing Carter's arrangement was a difficult task, she encouraged him to converse with her dad and granddad himself. Steffy eventually pushed briefly alone with Trust and asked her what was the deal with Carter since his abrupt safeguard of her line didn't make any sense. Somewhere else, Carter delivered a discourse to Brooke about how Trust couldn't have ever to scrutinize his dedication. There could never be a day when Trust didn't have Carter's help. Back with Steffy, she kept barbecuing Trust about the unusual Carter circumstance. Trust contended they were simply companions and partners prior to safeguarding Carter's extravagant image pitch. Steffy inquired as to whether Trust had faith in Carter in light of his large thoughts or to get expectation for the future off the slashing block. Trust demanded she'd never exploit Carter. However, Steffy countered that she exploited Thomas Forrester by involving him as a bounce back. Trust likewise pursued John Finnegan, so Steffy yelled about that and clarified that the main explanation Trust's line was alive was a direct result of her. Once more, on the off chance that Trust went too far, she was finished as was potential for what's in store. Carter heard Steffy compromising expectation and jumped in as he announced that was sufficient. After Carter recommended Steffy was manhandling her power as chief, he cautioned her to quit compromising the Logans and begin valuing their commitments. Steffy listened to Carter, yet she at last demanded she was as yet his chief and that he'd been doing a few problematic things recently. Shielding Trust and Brooke wasn't improving the situation, taking everything into account. Yet again, after Steffy cautioned desire to avoid Finn, she walked out. Carter let Trust know that Steffy was way off the mark and that he wouldn't represent it. In spite of the fact that Trust encouraged Carter not to get in that frame of mind of this, Carter demanded it was past the point of no return and that he implied it when he said he had her covered. Trust appeared to be contacted as Carter said he'd continuously be there to shield her. In the chief office, Eric let Edge know that it felt strange conflicting with Carter. However, his pitch simply wasn't appropriate for Forrester manifestations. When Ivy Forrester, Ashley Brewer showed up with Elektra Forrester, Lania Elegance, Edge encouraged them to make their pitch in spite of Steffy's dismissal. Edge was dazzled with Ivy's portfolio, so Ivy conceded she thought Steffy was allowing private matters to cloud her judgment. After Edge concluded restoring the gems line was really smart, Eric sincerely concurred. Ivy and Elektra celebrated as Eric proposed it was pleasant having additional Forresters around since this was the way you fabricated an inheritance. Concerning Steffy, Edge consented to converse with her and get her ready for resuscitating the adornments line, all things considered. Next on Tuesday's B&B episode, Brooke found Edge, who affirmed he maintained that Ivy should resuscitate the adornments line with Elektra as her right hand. Brooke inquired as to whether Edge could advise Steffy to stop with every one of the dangers while he was busy. When Brooke whined about Steffy taking steps to cut Trust's line once more and letting her contempt for Trust influence her judgment, the subject of Finn came up. Brooke guaranteed Edge that he didn't need to stress since Trust was not generally intrigued by Finn. The bold and the beautiful spoilers express that expectation and Carter's sentiment makes certain to cause a lot of show as this storyline moves along, so we'll pass along forecasts on all the strife and horrible news ahead. The bold and the beautiful spoilers. Trust's disappearing migraines. Was it a represent Finn or a dropped clinical story? The strong and the wonderful spoilers uncover that Trust Logan is by all accounts improving since she made this hot association with Carter Walton. Since Trust has discovered a superior internal compass and a renewed person to sizzle with, her troublesome cerebral pains have disappeared. Obviously, we need to consider the reason why those migraines are done tormenting Trust. It's conceivable that is because of Carter's help since it's a pressure reliever to have somebody in Trust's corner. In any case, even John Finnegan struggled to be sure whether Trust's cerebral pains were genuinely after she played with him. It's not difficult to see the reason why Finn could think Trust was faking it since she adored those supernatural occurrences laid with her hands of his. All things considered, it appeared as though Trust was really having horrendous cerebral pains for some time. Numerous B&B fans figured the show may be preparing for a clinical storyline, one that would make sense of Trust's unusual way of behaving. There's no rejecting that Trust's gone wild over the course of the past year or somewhere in the vicinity. Eventually, there might have been a story underway including some medical problem like a cerebrum growth, however it clearly got dropped assuming that is the situation. On the other hand, perhaps the migraines were only a plot point while Trust's crush on Finn was going on. Now that there could be not an obvious explanation to have Finn needing Trust and acting the hero, there's no great explanation for her to have cerebral pains by the same token. Notwithstanding Trust's doing fine and dandy now that she's about Carter, our forecasts highlight both Carter and Trust confronting much more pressure soon, yet we don't expect Trust's migraines will reemerge in spite of all the show. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say Steffy Forrester will cause a lot of difficulties for Trust and Carter in the approaching episodes, so remain tuned for refreshes on all the stunning news ahead. We have to consider why those headaches are no longer plaguing Hope. It's possible that's due to Carter's support since it's a stress reliever to have someone in Hope's corner. However, even John Finnegan had to wonder if Hope's headaches were real after she flirted with him. It's easy to see why Finn might think Hope was putting on an act since she loved those miracle worker hands of his. That said, it seemed like Hope was genuinely having terrible headaches for a while. Many B&B fans thought the show might be gearing up for a medical storyline, one that would explain Hope's out-of-character behavior. There's no denying that Hope's gone wild over the last year or so. At some point, there might have been a story in the works involving some health issue like a brain tumor, but it obviously got dropped if that's the case. Then again, maybe the headaches were just a plot point while Hope's crush on Finn was going on. Now that there's no longer a reason to have Finn massaging Hope and coming to her rescue, there's no real reason for her to have headaches either. Regardless, Hope's doing just fine now that she's all about Carter. Our predictions point to both Carter and Hope facing a lot more stress soon, but we don't expect Hope's headaches will resurface despite all the drama. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say Steffy Forrester will cause plenty of challenges for Hope and Carter in the coming episodes, so stay tuned for updates on all the shocking news ahead. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates.